Okay, drawing 4, a cone complete with branch. This is a repeat from level 2, and the only reason we're doing this is because it's part of our shop project with our transition pieces of square to round and then round to round. So this is just a truncated cone. So we've all done this before, so this is a repeat, and so let's go ahead with this one. We're going to make a pattern for the branch here. It's a round branch, and maybe we'll do the whole pattern as well. It's been a while since we've done that, so we may as well have a look. Maybe we can talk about the whole pattern for a square to round maybe at the end as well. So let's all our dimensions here, and let's just double check to make sure everything's correct. So we've got a 130. That means we've got a 65 radius. We're 100 tall here. 100. The baseline here, I just went up 65 for the baseline. I was going to try to get the wrap so it was on top here, so it lined up, but I'm out of room, so I don't have enough room here, so I'm going to have to do the wrap over here. So that's kind of what happened there. That's why it's kind of so low, but you could make the wrap coming off here, but it would just overlap over top of this drawing, so that's what happens there. Just 10 millimeters over here for this vertical line, and then just get that baseline like I said. 65 up there, pretty much touching on the bottom. You really don't need this down here. You almost could bring this down lower, depending on the hole pattern here where we get in this area. You're truncated here, so you got your height, so you got a 15 here. I brought this up to the apex just for when we do our hole pattern. This over here, I just went off 10. And the 50 times pi is the 157. So I just started with this over here, and then we'll get into that. We're 50 here from the baseline up to the center for this branch. We're also 100 over to the end here as well. You're going to need to do the half moon on the end here, and we'll number these, and then we'll get connecting over here. So first to start, we're basically doing a cut at this elevation. So this elevation and this elevation right here, and we need some element lines to come over to come down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this up. So this, whatever that dimension is, we're just going to bring it up. Okay, there's that radius at that elevation. Okay, we're going to come up with a vertical line, and we need to do a 25 mil up here. Now we can come off from here if it's kind of too close here, depending on, it really doesn't matter how far away we are for this vertical line. I'm just going to come 10 mils away, just so we're away from it a little bit. It's a vertical line there. And this one here, we just need the 25 mils. So. Okay, there we go, so 25. So a little bit smaller than this radius that we did over here. And let's go ahead and divide this out. Get our element lines on here. And where these hit, they'll fall down. And we'll number this in just a little bit. It's just above there. So we're going to bring these up until it hits this radius here. That one. And we'll do the same on the bottom. We can almost go ahead and number these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 4 is our outside one. So this one here is hitting the outside, right? So So this has to be 4. And then we're coming into the center here on this one. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's kind of do the same thing down below. So going to take the dimension here off center to where the branch hits the slope here. And I'm just going to bring this down. Oh, got a little, my dividers moved there. That was a little squiggly line. Let's try that again. Must have jumped a tooth. Jumped a thread. Alright, here we go. I'm only going to come down to here because this is 25 mils away here for this one. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to come up from here. Just because it lines up. There's no real reason for it. I'm going to go with that 25 mil again. Should have just used both my dividers here, but that's alright. 25 millimeters. Basically it's almost like an auxiliary view, but not really. It's a section view is what it is. We're just taking that of that section there. And again, cut this up. It's going to get a little busy here down in this corner for sure. We're going to bring this over until it hits that arc that we created. Like that. Same with this one. And that's all we need. We don't need to create this arc any bigger. I knew this was 50 mil. I knew that was 25. I knew I had 25 here. I knew I was able to share this baseline with the bottom to get that in there. Otherwise you could have left a space in between this view and this view. But it doesn't really overlap that much, so it's going to be just fine. Okay, the outside one here's got to be 4, because that's to the outside. So we'll call this 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring these straight down till it hits, and same with the bottom, so we'll do them both at the same time. It's been a while since we've done this, even when that comes in sloping. The sloping one would be exactly the same as we're doing here. If this came in, if this was sloping, this would be exactly the same. We'd be cutting it here and here, right where the sloping hits that corner. So it'd be exactly the same, except for these element lines would be coming through this way. The only thing is, we'll talk about it later when we do the whole pattern. There'd be a slight little difference with the element lines coming down, how they would shoot over to get the length of that whole pattern. But that's the only real difference between something, the branch sloping in versus just coming in horizontal like this. This part would be exactly the same. And just watch where that one hits there. Okay, let's join these down below. I like to use my steel ruler because I don't get the shadow off of it. I always find with the plastic squares and stuff, you get that shadow line. It's nice to have the metal squares as well. I've used those before. I almost prefer the metal squares. You don't get that double shadow, except for you can't look through them, but that's the only thing. I don't really need to look through them though. Not most of the time. Okay. Better lighting, easier to see for sure. Okay, so obviously here there's 4, there's 4. Let's put a little dot there. you're almost going to go down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Remember that? Down 1 over 1. 7 and 7 is there, right? So 6 and 6. And same with up here. You're going to go up 1 over 1. Like a little graph, up 1 over 1. A lot of times you don't even have to number these just because of the way that happens. There, now you're ready for the wrap. You've got all the true lengths from the end here. Make sure never to measure from here. The half moon here is just for the element lines. So you always take your dimension off the end here of the branch, and that end would be right here, right? That's just a view. So, and then we're just going to go to here. So let's go ahead and do this. You got lots of room here. I just went off the bottom of the branch. I just put a little line there. I just went 10 mil away and came up. I went 157 there. We're going to divide this by 12. Let's do the sloping line method again. I like that. Real simple, easy. So 12. Yeah, 120. 120 is not going to work. So we're going to have to go to 15. So 180. So if we put that at 0 and 180, put that right on there. 0 and 180. We can go every 15. 15, 30, 45, 60. Real easy counting, right? That's all we're doing here. Easy division. No calculator needed. Don't need to measure along here and try to divide out some random odd number. You can always find centered, put it into quarter, and then divide that way as well. There's nothing wrong with that. That'll work. This works as well. A lot less measuring. I used to do this a lot on the job site. Anytime we're doing our wraps, it was just a automatic go to. Oh, is that going to be long enough? To be a little longer. Let's do a little double check there where we get carried away. Looks like we got about 70. Oh, that'll be, yeah, that's good. I'll go about the same length as where we went to the diagonal. And we always want the seam on the shortest location, less weld or less misalignment with our wrap template. The wrap templates too, you can always just leave an extra inch if you want to overlap. And if you're doing something on the outside, just remember the cardboard paper here, it's got a thickness to it too. I mean, it's really thin, but believe it or not, when you wrap it around, it's going to come a 1/16 short. So sometimes you got to accommodate for the shortness of that as well. So sometimes you got to put that into play, the thickness of the paper, believe it or not. Let's go ahead and we'll do the 7. So we'll just start at the bottom. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, let's go ahead and just take our lengths here. And again, this just comes from the end of the branch to the dot. Go ahead and mark those. With up there. Let's do 6. A little bit longer. And also, let's see, would be able to go onto metalgeek.com and do this. I don't think metalgeek.com has got the cone. They've got round to round, cylinder to cylinder, but they don't have the templates for this one. Otherwise, we're into the design to fab, right? Design to fab, we'd have this done in 5 minutes. Obviously becoming the most popular way to go. Software, there's apps for your phone as well. Nothing wrong with that. It's faster. Whatever faster is. This just kind of gives you an overview of the longhand method How long are we going to be doing this for? That's a good question. Especially when the apps are taking over. Simplify our world. Pretty hard to beat the computer. Especially then we got the burning machine too, the CNC, and that would be able to cut that. And this one's going to be a little bit shorter here, so it ducks in at the top here. There we go. Alrighty. Time for the old fun snake here. Pick the side you want to use. I like the side that's closest to the page. I'm not using an ink pen, so I don't have to worry about smudging. Let's just go ahead and snake this in. Remember to go past that last point to get the smoothest arc possible. Yeah, I'll try not to be too fussy here. Just trying to move along here as well. There we go. Probably pretty close for this example that we're doing here. Let's keep working that. Down over there. Yeah, let's just wrap that around. Again, just trying to get that as close as possible here for what I'm trying to achieve here. Oh, that definitely looks a little off. Let's see if we can correct that just a little bit. Maybe rushing didn't help on this one. Gotta press that down there. Actually, I'd even feel better if I give that a little rub there. There we go. I think it would be a little happier with that. Yeah, the snake's always finicky, right? There. Yeah, it's not bad. A little bit off there, but for the time I spent on that. Okay, so that's done. We got the center line here. You're going to put your name on here. Let's get the date on here. Project name. Round branch. On cone. My B is kind of missing a B there. What else we got here? So we got a full pattern. And we're going to have some bend lines, so forming directions here. Let's form to, that would be a 50 diameter. We're going to go this way. Let's freehand this. Nicer with the ruler. And we're going to have our shear lines and our burn lines. And that's pretty good, I think, for that one. It gets our branch there. Okay, let's move on to our whole pattern. I'm thinking on this one we'll just do a half pattern, just to kind of simplify things here. Let's snug this thing over here a little bit. I think we got lots of room. So 150, 160 over, that should do. I'll just come right down from the top there. I don't think it really matters where we go here, or how far up we're gonna go. That's the distance we're gonna need, is right there, so that's what our cone will look like. How about doesn't really matter, but I line it up to the top here for whatever reason, doesn't really matter. Lots of room there, so I just the same here. So we're gonna need some lengths coming down here. So let's see, hopefully these dividers are long enough. Yep. And then all the way down to the base here. like that. That's where all our marks come from. We're just going to do the half over here, so coming down. So how far does this stretch out? So again, this was a 65 on the bottom, so we need to go 65 times pi. The calculator here. We got 204, and we'll divide that by 4, just because we're doing the 1/4. Divided by 4. It looks like we're 51. Pretty small. It does seem small. What did we do wrong there? Oh, because we got to double it. Of course. Okay. I make mistakes too. Figured it out pretty quick though. Let's double those up. 130 times pi. I was going to say half the size we needed. 408. And we'll divide that by 4. 102.1. Okay, close enough. Now let's come over here. Yeah, that's probably about right. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so over here we need to bring, we have a 65 here, the 25 here. Let's get these element lines going all the way through. Extra little step here, just doing this whole pattern. It's not necessary, but let's go ahead and do this anyway. Most important part is the wrap pattern there. This one's got to go over as well. Spin that pencil to keep it sharp, right? Okay, so there we go. 4 is on center here, so 4 has got to be on the outside. 1 and 7 have to be here. So we can just go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where they cross, right? Now 1 here, we're going to bring this down till it hits the 1. It's on center, so nothing to do over here. So as we come over here, this is your apex. Same with this. That's your base down here. So this would be our base. And this is where everything's going to measure off of, because this is your base, right? So this is your base. And let's go ahead and bring down number 2 then. Where 2 crosses 2. Jogging the memory now. So right here, you're just going to bring this down until it hits there. And that's where that just comes across here, off of center, and where this crosses here. So here, it intersects there. We're going to project that out to the outside. So this little dot right here just becomes 2. And we're going to take that dimension across there and put it over there where it comes up, because we're going to take all these lengths off the outside and put them over here as well. Okay, remember that? Let's go ahead and do 3. Really doesn't take too long. And 3 is all the way down here. I'm doing these one at a time just to save confusion on all the little dots, and I don't need to track back after. I know sometimes it's a little slower, but this will be 3. And we got 4. 4 is here. Yeah, it almost hits the exact same spot here, doesn't it? With 4 Getting 4 on the outside here. Coming through. 3 and 4 is pretty much in the same spot. So we'll call this and 4. Yeah, so that nailed it there and there. It's just the way it happens. And 5 here, let's bring this over. And we got to hit 5 over here. Little dot there. And let's bring these over. There's 5. And we got to do 6. Last one here. There's 6 is up here. So right there. There's 6. This will kind of make sense in a moment if you're a little bit lost. Okay, so we got all our numbers over here, and 1 and 7 are at the top. So there's our 1 and 7 are right on here. So 1 and 7. We'll measure the rest off. Actually, maybe we can even do that now. Doesn't really matter. Kind of the hard part here. So maybe we'll try to go all the way over to 3 and 4. So we're going to try to measure this on the arc. Real kind of tough to do here. Maybe I'll come off my 10. I'm going to buckle my ruler in half here. Need something a little bit more flexible than this. Looks like I've got 48. I'm going to come over here. And 48. Obviously not perfect, but 3 plus 4. And then let's go ahead and do these ones. So just using my 10, coming easier to flex my ruler here. I'm going to go to 5. So it looks like I've got about 34. And come over here. 34. Right on the 10 here, so that's a 5. And we'll go to 2. And this one looks like almost bang on 30. You might get a little bit more accurate than I am. One of those flexible snakes with the ruler on them would have been better. A little more flexible. And this one looks like it's about 18. Right about there. That was for 6. Okay, so we got those numbers, so that was the hard part. Okay, so let's take our dividers here and just coming down. Whole pattern time. We don't truncated's up there. We don't have to put the truncated on because we're not doing the whole pattern, but since we're already up here, we may as well, right? This would actually almost be the pattern for the cone too, right? Pretty simple. All you have to do is measure out and then up. Simple as that for your pattern. Okay, apex to number 1 here, where it hits the sloping side, okay? Has to be on the sloping side. Really don't need to go probably much more than that over here, just because the 102, right? That's okay. There's 1. Let's go a little bit longer for 2, and again onto the sloping side. And let's go ahead and we'll do 3. Again onto the sloping side. And and so on and so forth all the way down. 4. And it's important, so even if you don't do a hole pattern, to put this number 4 on your cone pattern, because now you can line up the center of your branch to the center here of your hole. So that's important. Another thing too is you could always measure from your apex down to here and at least make a mark here. So if you had a little mark here, mark down below in a center line, at least you have something to line up your branch to. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do number 5. So it's important to put all your center lines on. More marks the better. Reference lines, datum lines, whatever makes your life easier for alignment. All the way down to 6. 6 and 7 are going to be pretty close. Six and 7. There we go. Probably really should have been the same distance as 1 to 2. Looks like I'm just a little bit off here. I might be off center slightly. Okay. So, this is our top. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is our base down here. And we're going to go up to our apex. Coming off our 3, 4. We're going to do our 5. Again, just off your apex down to your 5, down to your 2. And then 6 here. Okay, let's connect the dots here. So 1 and 1 is here. We got 2 and 2 here. We got 3 and 3, 4, 5. Where's 6 here? 6 and 7. There's our hole pattern. And then maybe we can talk about the squared around too. I didn't really bring my drawing in. I should have had my drawing with me. Just about how that square branch hits. It would be similar to this. Before I was saying it might be a little complicated, but I kind of re-looked at it again and it was kind of doable. Maybe I should start to put that into the curriculum as well. Just doing a whole pattern for it. Not as complicated as I remember. Okay, so that's it there. Center line, burn line. And we won't put everything on this one. We'll just put hole pattern. Whole half pattern. Gets a little busy in there with everything. Got your name on that one and stuff, but there you kind of go on there. I guess what we could do here even just kind of back into the squared around like our hole pattern here. We could extend this up because we did get a height here. So if we had a distance from here to this branch here on the sloping side, we could come from here, and this one here there'd be a flat section, and then it would radius out. So we can use this here for the radius because we use the radius on the bottom. Then we can go up to the top and do a straight line. And then what we'd have to do is we'd have to measure along this curved line, or whatever this line is up here. You'd have to measure along. You have to go straight, measure along, make a mark, come out straight, do a curve, because it would be from this distance here. Make a curve, measure out, and then connect the two. So actually really it's not that difficult. Not as difficult as I thought it would be. You're just coming off the top here. So the biggest thing I think is using this apex for cutting the holes out on this. We're doing this. So a little bit similar to what we're doing here. So for this one here, everything comes off the sloping side because that's your true length, right? We just did our true length here. And then for our cone, really what we can do is just come over 102 and then straight up. And then there you go. And then from there, you're just basically ready to check your pattern. Okay, so there's, what do we get on here? Oh, we didn't do it. Drawing 4, I guess, eh? I better put that on there. Drawing 4. Perfect. Okay, thanks.